Hi, I'm J.C. Jones, and I want to share with you today a word from the Lord. It comes from 2 Timothy, the first chapter, the 6th and the 7th verses, where it says, "Wherefore I put your remembrance, that you stir up the gifts that are within you by the laying on of my hands. For God has not given you the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." My brothers and my sisters, I want to tell you today that what we have to do in this time of uncertain economic issues and circumstances and all the other craziness we're dealing with right now, especially as you start embarking upon new endeavors. When Paul wrote this note to Timothy, Timothy was a young pastor, and he was about to deal with a bunch of people. And if you ever dealt with church folk, you know what I'm talking about. He was going to be challenged on every hand. Challenged because of his youth, challenged because of the fact that this was a whole new idea, challenged because folk were always going to look and say, well, Paul said this, or I disagree with you, or going to always challenge what he was doing, and then would he be able to perform and to help the people and to be a blessing to the folk as he wanted to. Listen, as you embark upon what God has shown you, the vision that God has given you, you're going to be challenged at every end. And please understand that courage is not moving in the absence of fear. It's moving in the presence of fear, yet letting fear take its rightful place behind you and not in front of you. The Bible says perfect love casts out fear. And what you have to understand is that God has placed certain gifts inside of you that make you equipped to handle whatever it is. And oftentimes we get to asking God, saying, Lord, stir up the gifts inside of me, but God's not going to stir up your gifts. You got to stir it up. How do we do this? Spend time in prayer. Spend time in fasting. Spend time talking to the Lord. Spend time eating the scriptures. Spend time believing God. Spend time telling him thank you. Spend time counting your blessings. When you start looking for God in your situations and start looking for him in your circumstances, start looking for him in your life, you begin to understand his hand is constantly there. The more you understand that, the more you know you can make it. Then it says, he has not given you the spirit of fear, timidity, cowardice, or fear itself, but of power. The word there is dynamis, where we get the word dynamite. Dynamite, you know, is explosive. And God has given you the ability to do the things that he's called you to do. He's given you the strength and virility, the actual, how do I put this, the explosive, active facilities and everything that you need to get the job done. You're not missing resources. You just got to figure out where your resources are hidden. And you have to start looking for them and recognizing that God would not have left you without giving you what you need. For he's a God of provision. He's a God that provides ahead of time. He's a God that thinks beforehand. He didn't make the earth by accident. He didn't come up with your vision by accident. And you're not here by accident. For there's no incidents nor accident in God, only providence. Beyond that, it says he's not giving you a spirit of fear, but of power. Power. Love. Agape. In other words, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Unconditional love. No matter what it is that you've gone through, no matter what mistakes you've made, while undertaking this endeavor, God's not going to give up on you. And you ought not give up on him, and you ought not give up on yourself. Power, love, and a sound mind. Sound, self-discipline. Able to take what you're dealing with, to take the challenges that you're going through. And even when you don't feel like doing it, even when you can't see how you're going to make it, how you're going to get through it, deciding that I'm going to continue. You know, oftentimes when we're working out, we have the issue of getting to the place we call the wall. It's where it doesn't feel like we're going to make it. And sometimes it feels like we're going to need to stop, or sometimes it feels like we don't need to go at all, or even do the work we're supposed to do. But the devil is a liar. You got to get the mindset that says, I don't do it because it feels good, I do it because it gets me the result I'm looking for. Which means, in times when you feel fear, you got to keep moving, trusting that God's going to keep you. In times when you don't understand how you're going to get there, you got to ask God and keep moving, trusting that God's going to give you the answer. At times when you feel like you can't make it, you got to trust God and continue moving, knowing that God will never leave you, nor will he forsake you. He has the strength invested in you to get done what you need to do. Now listen, you take the rest of this week and you run into it. Run into it with a plan and a program. Run into it knowing that the God you serve is bigger than the trouble you have. Magnify your God and your troubles get smaller. Believe me, beloved, he is already invested in you everything you need to do what needs to be done. God bless you, and we'll see you next time.